And before I'm getting to talk about what exactly is how the program is structured, I just want to show you in what kind of a context, academic context, this happens. And the university is, of course, it's two different campuses in Nürtingen and Geislingen, and these are the master programs in Geislingen. So it's Sustainable Mobilities, it's Automotive and Mobility Management, it's Corporate Leadership, Real Estate Management, and Restructuring and Insolvency Management. And between all these different master programs, there are overlaps and there are collaborations. We're working closely together also with the colleagues from Automotive and Mobility Management. And this applies for the teaching, for the study programs. So we are exchanging lectures, we are organizing courses together. But that also applies in research, because Sustainable Mobilities is a research-based and, as Gerhard Schmücker already said, a social science-oriented master. So we're not talking about a pure social science master. You don't need to be a sociologist or social geographer or anthropologist or whatever. The program is open for many different disciplines, but in the core, it's the structure and the idea of the master program is social scientific, which means we put the people in the center. The human scale is one of the terms that we are using in our program and how we educate our students. So the Master in Sustainable Mobilities, this is what it's all about today. So what can you expect? I said an international master, and if I say international, I seriously mean international. It is based in Germany, but the language is English. All the teaching happens in English. We have students, I'm not saying from all over the world, but from many different continents, from many different countries. We have students from Africa, we have students from North and South America, we have students from Europe, from Asia. It's a seriously multicultural environment that the master is actually happening, but that doesn't only apply for the students, it also applies for the teachers. We have an international staff of teachers that I'm going to introduce later. What you can also expect is some key knowledge and skills in the field of sustainable mobility and transport. I think if you're interested in sustainable mobilities, you probably very, very clearly aware how many things are changing today, and that in the future, and I'm talking about the near future, about 10 years, 15, 20 years, the mobility and the organization of mobility in our daily lives will look quite different to today. So what we need to be able to work in these environments and to also to develop good ideas and good products for these new and rising markets, we need to be able to understand the trends and the developments, the logic that is actually happening there. And I'm always talking about that we are actually heading from a system of automobility to a system of multiple mobilities. What you also can expect is a collaborative and inspiring environment, teamwork, group work, problem-based research and problem-based learning in groups, in exchange with other students, with the teachers. This is actually basically our daily business in this master. So you're not going to learn isolated. We're not going to give you like a manuscript or a book that you have to read and to learn by heart and then reproduce. It is all applied learning in many ways, problem-oriented. It comes together also from the different backgrounds of our students plays an important role, because there is to solve the mobility problems and to be able to understand or to design solutions for sustainable mobility. We can use the different backgrounds of the students as an asset, and you will learn to work together, to collaborate with other students very closely, and with a huge benefit for yourself. So this is a strong asset. At the same time, our lecturers and our teachers in the program, they have a very strong emphasis on practice orientation. So we are a university for applied science, which basically means that we are in close contact with practice. And if I'm talking about practice, it can be companies, it can be public authorities, it can be NGOs, non-governmental organizations. All kinds of different practice partners show up in our program and help you to develop a good knowledge and a tailored knowledge, basically, for yourself to be able to succeed in the job market. What sustainable mobility teaches, I said already a lot about that. So I'm going to talk later about the structure of the program, which means that we give you a lot of knowledge, background knowledge. So mobility theory, concepts, and different approaches to understand what is actually happening there. Social science research methods for market and future research, and for solution design. Design thinking is quite essential for our program. Many different tools, many different methods how to approach solutions. Insights to technological developments in mobility and transport. You're aware that the whole discussion about electric mobility, about hydrogen, about automated vehicles, about shared mobility, about all sorts of up to robot taxis and whatever, needs a certain understanding of the technological side of that, but we are not an engineering education. We are a social science-based education, which means we are able to understand these things and we are able to deal with different forms of knowledge, also technical knowledge, but we are not engineers in that sense at the end of or you won't be an engineer at the end of this education. Problem-based project work and research I already mentioned, which means that specifically in the third semester, it has a strong emphasis on that you actually work on your own project together with other people, basically in a sort of a consultancy situation, a specific problem. Normally we develop this together with with practice partners. So that in the end, you come up with a report, you present a report, you discuss that with people from practice, from public authorities, from companies, whatever it is. With the topics are always changing, and you learn basically how to present, how to communicate, how to transport the knowledge that you accumulated in this project to people who have a problem and they want to find solutions. Solution orientation is quite an important thing, and that applies also for the German students or German-speaking Germans. This is an international education, an education that trains you in speaking, writing, and presenting in English in Germany. If you come from outside of Germany, of course, you will find a quite international environment here. What do we expect from you? In the first place, curiosity and the commitment and the willingness to work hard for our own and for your success, which means we are not presenting you like a compendium in that sense. So you need to work hard together with us, supported from the teachers, to develop the knowledge that you want or that you need, basically, also to succeed on the job market, and to be curious in the way that you actually learn to look specifically driven by this specific problem into different disciplines, into different knowledge, that you get in touch with people that you do interviews, for example, you read a lot of stuff, you do some research on the internet, and so forth. So curiosity and an open-mindedness is quite an asset that you have, and you need to be able to participate in the courses, to discuss things, and to organize, self-organize basically your learning process. Always supported by us. We never leave you alone, but it basically means that you need to be able to structure your daily work and your learning journey basically. What is needed from your side too? Good English. I think good English and is mandatory. For those who intend to stay in Germany and work in Germany, it is absolutely mandatory to have good German language skills. And if that's your plan, never start too late. Start from the beginning, learning German. You don't need to be able to speak German because everything in our education is in English. But if you want to get in touch with practice partners, with companies, or people you want to work with, you basically need to be able at least to have a basic level in Germany. And you need to be willing to read. That is quite essential. That has to do with the social science tradition in our education. It's basically that you need to be able to read and to process actually a lot of knowledge that you accumulate, that you structure, and reading is basically the basic skill. So how is the curriculum actually structured? We have 3 pillars. The first is what I mentioned before, is that we actually give you the essential knowledge to understand what is happening in these changes, transformations of mobility that we observe these days. So you get basic social science of sustainable mobilities knowledge. You get knowledge about sustainable development. You learn something about innovation, change management, and transition management. So the links between society, economy, and mobilities. This is in the center of the first pillar. In the second, this is basically you get a decent, sophisticated, and significant method education in qualitative and quantitative methods. You learn something about future research, market research, mobilities design and design thinking, and how to investigate the future of mobilities. And the third pillar is this praxis orientation. I mentioned it before. We are a university for applied science that also mirrors in the program that we are actually working basically from the first semester to the master thesis in close collaboration with practice partners. That's the structure. How is that in detail structured in the courses, in the modules? So it's a modular system. In the first semester, it's basically what is here like 1.1 to 1.4 means that you get the essential knowledge together with the second semester, like basic knowledge for the mobility transition. In the second semester, there is a field trip that we so far did to Copenhagen, and where we get in touch with partners and practitioners in Copenhagen, and you learn field work. So you get into the city, you ask people, you do interviews, you collect data, and then you learn how to evaluate that, how to analyze the data. And this is a quite dense package of basic knowledge in the first and second semester. In the third semester, you can see that there is a strong emphasis on what is called problem-based research. So you basically, this is the core of this semester, is that you learn to design your own research. You design a study, like as an example, you're working in a consultancy and somebody gives you a problem defined. So you learn how to define that, how to use the method education that you get in our education, and to design a research process. And in the same semester, you also conduct the research. So at the end of this semester, you basically end up with a a group work-based research report that you present to practitioners, that you learn how to communicate that, how to present that, how to discuss that, and also how to develop that further. Mobility solution design is in this semester also. It's from the first to the third semester and the topic. We have different electives, and in the fourth semester, is dedicated to the master thesis, and this has also to do that the master thesis in our education is not a nice to have add-on or like something that you have to deliver. It's basically, in that sense, the masterpiece. You develop your own research. The difference is to the third semester, you don't do this in a group situation. Normally, you can also write together with one person, for example, but normally the normal case is that you write this for yourself. And this is followed by a master colloquium where we accompany this process of writing the master thesis, reflect it, discuss it, where specific problems can be discussed, where you present your work and discuss that together with the other students. Then we support you in studying abroad. We recommend the third semester. Gisela Zimmermann, who's organizing this master program together with me. She's also the person in charge in the international office, so you have direct access to all the knowledge, all the information that you need there, and we support you. The same with internships. As far as we can, it also needs your individual initiative, but we actually support you in getting good interns and getting in touch with partners where you can actually spend a time in a company or spend a time in a public authority, for example. Very briefly, the team, I said it's an international team, and if I say international, I seriously mean that. So Gisela Zimmermann and I, we are organizing this. I mentioned that before. Then we have teachers from Denmark, from Sweden. These are the colleagues, the professors that are working together with us on this program from the university. Then we have teachers from Ecuador, from Spain, and from Denmark. And this is changing. And in this semester, we also have a new teacher from the US. So you see, it's a very international team, and that also represents basically the different transformations and changes that are happening in the mobility world in different places in the world. These are the contact persons. Basically, you can approach me or you can approach Gisela Zimmermann if you need information. We are present on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Xing for the German students. And maybe last but not least, beyond the employment possibilities, there's a lot of places we can see that since we are not like a disciplinary, we are an interdisciplinary education. Our students they basically end up in very different places. They work in ministries, they work in companies, they work in public authorities, in non-profit organizations, very, very broad approach. And you also get the essential knowledge and the qualifications to move on, for example, for a university career or for a PhD after you finished our education. Sustainable mobilities is not only a very complex issue, it's also happening in collaboration with a lot of different networks. So we are publishing quite a lot. We are publishing also together with other partners in the world. We're organizing conferences. We do research. There is problem-based research that is happening with students where on specific topics. And one topic that is keeping us quite busy and where we are really happy about it is a new living lab. In German, it's called Reallabor. It's a living lab that is based in Geislingen, in Stuttgart, and in a small place, Waldburg, close to Ravensburg in the south of Baden-Württemberg, where we investigate how we can, from a bottom-up approach, develop specific solutions for sustainable mobility, specifically tailored for the communities, the neighborhoods living there, but also for the different contexts, the different urban contexts that we are having there. So all in all, I think Sustainable Mobilities is an interdisciplinary program that opens up a lot of opportunities for careers, and that is happening in a really well-placed and well-developed network. And we are very much looking forward to have you in Geislingen. Geislingen is a fantastic place for your education in a vibrant environment in the region of Stuttgart. And we look forward to working with you and to developing your perspectives together with us. Thank you very much.